Kumar, Pharma GM, BHL, to give presidential address and speaker introduction. Over to Kumar, sir. Sir, Kumar, sir.
He's muted.
Kumar, line இருக்கீங்களா? ஆனந்த் அவர் மியூட்ல இருக்காரா அன்மியூட்ல இருக்காரா?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
yes sir, yes sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening to all. Very, very nice warm evening to all of you. And then we welcome you for this presentation come lecture by Dr. Raji Sundararajan, Professor, School of Energy Technology from Purdue University in USA. And it's a very, very very big pleasure to all of us to hear your lecture, madam, this evening. And we are all assembled because it's now everywhere we are talking virus only, and incidentally you're giving a speech on virus. So yeah. This electromagnetic field is re-emerging in the 21st century, and I think this may bring some beneficial health improvements to the human organisms. I think that way, I think your lecture will be an interesting one this evening. And before going to the lecture, I will give you a brief about the Dr. Rajani Sundararajan. Professor Rajani Sundararajan is a professor at the School of Engineering Technology Department at Purdue University. She obtained her initial training at Johns Hopkins Medical School and has been doing research on electroporation for the past several years. She was recipient of 2010 Indiana Women and High Tech Award for distinguished use of technology in healthcare and life science, and won a prestigious one-year fellowship in 2010-11 to study regenerative medicine therapy using opto-injection and electroporation techniques at Purdue. She is a reviewer of NIH, NSF, US International Science and Technology Center, and US National Research Council proposals and various scholarly journals, including International Journal of Cancer, Molecular Biotechnology, Journal of Biomedical Microdevices, Journal of Anti-Cancer Drugs, and several IEEE transactions. So on behalf of all of us, on behalf of IEI Tiruchirappalli Local Center and IEEE NIT Trichy and IEI TNSC, we welcome you all for this presentation. Over to Dr. Rajani Sundar.
A very good evening to all of you. Thank you for your kind introduction. And first I want to thank Dr. N. Sivakumaran for introducing me to this chapter and allowing me to give a talk, especially inviting me. It's an honor and pleasure. Is my voice okay? Everybody hears me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So I've been doing research since many years on cancer, drug delivery using electrical pulses. And then there are cancers caused by virus. Now coronavirus is everywhere. So I thought I will talk about this, electrotherapies for virus-based cancers. So if you wonder, sir, how does it go? So next slide, it's not going. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it is different. Yesterday it was working differently. Anyway, if you wonder what business an electrical engineer or any engineer has with cancer or virus, here is your answer. Cancer is called the king of the diseases or queen of the diseases or emperor of the diseases, because it is not just one disease, it's hundreds of diseases. That's why its management is so difficult. And if you know, scientists discover the existing world, whereas engineers invent a world that never existed. Our internet and now cell phone, smartphone, robotic surgery, e-medical records, genome was possible thanks to the computer science people, correct? So everything the medical people are using is thanks to engineering, electrical, chemical, mechanical, computers, and whatnot. And if you see, medical is not an isolated unit. It is a multidisciplinary entity. If you see, we have bioengineering, biophysics, bioelectromagnetism, medical physics, medical electronics, medical engineering. So, so overall, everything is related. Okay, so if you see that is on the axis, physics, electronics, engineering, vertical, medicine, and biology. Everything is interrelated. Our body is a very good example. We are a complex, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary system. Okay, so it makes sense to engineers to work with them. And also, if you see, the medical expenses are keep increasing. The revenue or cost of medicine is approaching $2 trillion. Okay, so why not we take a piece of the pie? We should be participating and get the benefit. And of course, engineer has a lot to offer. Okay, the doctors cannot survive on their own. They need some help from chemists, biologists, physicists, scientists, and engineers. So I thought I can enter into this field. Basically, I have my BS in electrical engineering, triple electrical and electronics engineering from GCE Salem. At the time, it was University of Madras. Then in IISc Bangalore, high voltage engineering ME, and then in PhD from Arizona State University. And I've been working on hundreds of kV voltage, okay, lots of current. And I was studying insulators, okay, at its various conditions, okay. For example, we simulate the actual field conditions, the rain, the heat, the UV radiation, etc. Okay. Then I attended a talk where they were telling we can use electrical pulse to enhance drug delivery. Okay, I will come more about it later. So I was wondering, if you see, the insulator I'm testing is silicone rubber. Silicone rubber has a backbone of SiO, that is an inorganic material, whereas it has the side chains of CH3. And then you look at the amino groups or amino acids in our body. Our bodies consist of DNA, RNA, proteins, they all have amino acids. And if you see, they also have side chains, CH3. However, their backbone is also organic. Okay, so we have an inorganic backbone and a CH3 side chain, whereas organic backbone and a organic side chain. So I thought, instead of working on SiO, CH3, why not I work on amino groups? Okay, so I got my training from Johns Hopkins, and then since then I'm doing. In addition, also our body is electric. No, there is the neurons, the brain working is based on switching on and off. So I thought we should be taking participation in the treatment of cancer. So first question, what is cancer? Okay, I think most of you know, the word cancer came from the word crab, how the crab penetrates, in the sand, in the beach, the sand, and then go inside, it spreads everywhere. Like that, cancer also can spread. That is the problem with cancer. Okay, it's not just one disease. If you have a heart problem, you put a stent or this and that. If you have diabetes, you take insulin. It's under control. Whereas in the case of cancer, they can invade. Okay, so cancer is uncontrolled growth, and then it is caused by unlimited cell division. Okay, typically they are supposed to stop after certain amount of cell division, but this is like a rogue child. It doesn't listen to anyone. Okay, it's like your child going to your next neighbor and then doing things there. Okay, so that is what, it will start in one organ, like say breast, and then it can invade. It will, if you have a breast cancer as the primary cancer, you will have, lung cancer, bone cancer, brain cancer as secondary cancers. It is called metastasis. If you have metastasis, they are the one, because multiple organs are involved, your immune system is totally collapsed. So, up to 90% of the cancer death is caused by metastasis. So cancer is not a single disease, but a bunch of over 100 diseases. So imagine controlling this. That's why we can never cure or stop cancer, because it is from our body. If you see, our body has 10 power 16 cells, okay, trillions of cells. Each day, at least 10 power 7, okay, more than 10 million cells are working, okay, dividing. All you need is just one cell go wrong. Okay, so imagine the probability of one cell going wrong out of 10 power 7 cell is very high. That is why the beauty is getting cancer is normal. Not getting cancer only is a wonder. That is why we are all wonder child. Okay, so it is very difficult to control cancer because there are many things. For example, it is caused by, I'll go here. Chemical radiations, it is caused by, alcohol, smoking, bitter leaves. Okay, there are various reasons why it is caused. So it is very difficult to control. And if you see, once it was a disease of industrialized Western countries, okay, like European countries, and USA was having. Now you see today, cancer is everywhere, including in Africa. Okay, those days, Africa didn't have much cancer because people were dying early. Whereas now people are living longer. That is another thing. Okay, cancer can be considered as a old age disease, but these days even youngsters like in 20s are getting. Okay, and here is a good prediction model. If you see, if there is 10 million new cases, 7 million deaths. Okay, that was in 2002, approximately 70%, right? 7 over 10 is 70%. They predicted 2020, 16 million new cases, 10 million deaths. See what happened in 2018. In 2018, we were 18.1 million new cases and 9.6 million deaths. That means what happened? We are close to, okay, so we exceeded the 16 and we were close to 10 million. Again, 10 over 16 is 66.67%. Okay, here 70%, 66.67%. Again, they're predicting 2030, 14 over 20 is again 70%. So 70% death happens. Imagine that, okay? There are tens of millions of cancers and several million deaths. And here gives you what happened, how it happens in various countries. Okay, so if you take both men and women, it is 18.1 million total cases, 9.6 total million. Sorry, 9.6 million total deaths, 53%. Okay, come to men. Men alone, if you take 9.5 million new cases, 5.4 million deaths, so that is like 57% death. Take women alone, 8.6 million cases new, and then 4 million, okay, 49%. So if you see what is called the hallmarks of cancer, how is cancer caused? Okay, it's because of sustained proliferative signaling, means the cells are getting signal to grow, divide, grow. So, okay, they are doing it. Evading growth suppressor. We have what is called suppressing gene. P53 is a growth suppressor gene, but that suppressor gene doesn't work. Okay, there is some damage, some mutation happen. It's not working. It's like your brake is not working. Okay, whereas your accelerator is working exceedingly well. Okay, beyond your control. Your acceleration is beyond your control. Your brake is not stopping. Imagine that's the journey we are having it. Okay, resisting cell death. Okay, it's called apoptosis. Okay, normally when the cells are supposed to be killed, they are killed naturally, but whereas this mutation won't let it happen. Inducing angiogenesis means growing new blood vessels. Remember, the cancer needs blood, it's energy, sugar. That's why sugar is a very big enemy to cancer. If you eat a lot of sugar, it will grow just like a happy child. Children are happy with chocolates like that. Then activating invasion and metastasis. Invasion is if it starts in one place, it can grow, penetrate, break the walls and go into the bloodstream and go into everywhere. This hallmark of cancer was given by Mr. Weinberg in 2002 or 3. Okay, now they have come up with another one, 2011. Here now they are adding epigenetics. It's not just whatever happens in our body. It is what we eat. It's what we drink. It's what we are surrounded with. The air is contaminated. Everything. So they are talking about all that. And then genomic instability, these are all after genome study has come. They have come up with the DNA damage. So the genes are not stable. Okay. And then they're resisting this. The cells will commit suicide, okay? Because once their job is done, they're supposed to go away. Whereas that's called apoptosis, but resisting apoptosis, reprogramming energy metabolism, okay? Normally for metabolic, whatever we eat, it converts to sugar and blood, everything, thanks to metabolism, okay? So these cancer cells reprogram the energy metabolism. Typically, you don't need sorry, normal cells don't use oxygen to convert to sugar, whereas the cancer cells can do both ways. So you can see the double dip, okay? Normal cells, for they can only do certain ways. The cancer cells can beat them in both ways, okay? With or without sugar, they can do metabolism. That means, it's again too much growth thing. Sustaining proliferating signaling, evading growth suppressor, invading in metastasis, evading immune destruction. Okay, remember when the virus come, our body will go and fight because it's a foreign object, whereas it's our own cells. Okay, our own cells behaving differently. So many of the time the immune system wouldn't do, and even if the immune system fights against it, the cancer cells know how to beat them. Okay, so they are very powerful, just like a rogue child. Okay, like a big adult child doesn't listen to anyone. So what can you do? You have to be facing the difficulties. Okay, so if you see, how is cancer, why is cancer? Okay, and 80% of the cancer, we don't know how it comes. Okay, it can be various reasons. Okay, 10% because of hereditary. Okay, if your parents or sister or uncle have, you will get it. Another 10% is gene related, genetic. Okay, that means like BRCA1, BRCA2, some Jewish population have, they get breast cancer. Okay, they'll get like 80% susceptibility, whereas we have only 15-20% susceptibility. So the risk factors are both preventable and non-preventable. Preventable is like smoking. If you don't smoke, up to 30%. Lung cancer is the #1 cancer killer. The incident rate is low, but the death rate is very high. Okay, so we can reduce up to 30% of the death by not smoking. But imagine, everywhere the one packet cigarette, I don't know about India, here it's like $4. You can easily buy a pack at the corner shop for $4. Then what motivation you have to stop it? Same with alcohol. Okay, alcohol is cause for many cancers, especially in India for liver cancer, because at least people, rich people can drink and eat healthy food so that it will compensate. If you eat without good food, without nutritious food, it'll go and attack your, liver only. Okay, so. And also, we have known nicotine is a chemical soot. Okay, in the UK, in the beginning, they were getting, those who clean the chimneys, they were getting cancer. Then found out that the black, the carcinogen in the soot are similarly asbestos. Okay, and then UV radiation cause skin cancer. In India, of course, we have, more melanin, so we don't get that. In the US, more than 1 million cases. When we talk about cancer, we normally don't talk about skin cancer because it's very normal. It is because of the UV radiation, UVA, UVB. Okay, that's why they always apply the sunscreen. Of course, Madame Curie died thanks to radiation from the radium she invented, discovered. And then X-rays. We use X-rays for breast cancer detection. However, the breast cancer can be enhanced or caused by X-rays. Okay, so many things which we can avoid. Of course, there are unavoidable, like, being a lady itself is a very reason for breast cancer. There is nothing you can do about it. You cannot change your gender. Okay, of course, you can do some operations still. Okay, and if you see, I have put viruses in both preventable and non-preventable. There are some viruses for which we can have, vaccine. There are viruses which we cannot, like COVID-19, we don't have. Okay, I know COVID-19 is not causing any cancer yet. We don't know it eventually. It takes 10-20 years for the cancer to accumulate and come to a form. Typically 10^6 cells, 1 million cells and below, 1 million, no, 10^6 is 100,000, correct? No, 10^6 is 1 million. Yeah. If you have 1 million cells or below, malignant, no problem. If it becomes 10^7, 10^9, that will be like 10 power 9, 1 billion cells is like 1 centimeter tumor, 1 centimeter volume, thickness, radius, diameter tumor. That and all it's beyond our control. And if you see, we saw that 18.1 million new cases in 2018, 15% up to like 11 to 15% is caused by viruses, okay? So now comes what is a virus. I don't know how many of you know it. There are many theories how the world is formed, but originally carbon came, oxygen came, hydrogen came, nitrogen came, chlorine came, potassium came, sodium came, and then we had atoms, then molecules, then nucleic acids, then came RNA, DNA, cell, and then tissue, organ, then life. Okay, like mammalians. Okay, we are mammals, animals. Okay, so there is a theory which came first, RNA or DNA. Most of them say RNA was the first genetic molecule. If you see what is the cancer, it is nothing but a small organism, just 40 nanometer, 0.04 micron, imagine, okay? Up to 450 nanometers, okay? If you take COVID, it is just 125 nanometer or 0.125 micron, doing all the havoc in the whole world, okay? So viruses are just small organisms they have just nucleic acids, meaning they have either RNA or DNA, okay? They cannot have both. That's why they need another body to stay there, okay, which we call infection. And then they will do the metabolism, divide and everything, okay? So they will cause spreading of themselves, and then they cause the various diseases, including cancer, okay? So if you see, when was the virus formed, they say the first life formed 3.5 billion years ago, immediately after, within, 0.1 billion years, 3.4 billion years, both bacteria and viruses formed, okay? And then if you compare that to mammary glands, okay, our breast formed only 160 million years ago. So these viruses are there, we know influenza virus, cold virus, smallpox, polio, SARS, AIDS, and then now COVID, okay? They're all there. So why would Mother Nature, okay? Mother Nature, if you see, our body is so well planned, okay? Every part, every cell is made with a purpose, with an intention, with a function. Without that, Mother Nature wouldn't waste her resources. It is infinite for us, but for her, it is very precious, very limited, okay? Why would she do this, okay? To cause death, because the Mother Nature's goal is to keep every one of us alive, not dead, okay? So why did she do it, okay? If you see, one speculation says about 100 million years ago, they found out that, the viruses are used to fuse cells, okay? That's how our placenta cells are connected with the uterus, so that, the fetus can draw nutrients from its mother. If you see, originally, we didn't have this, we only had an egg, and then from there, the chick will come like that, okay? Then only breast came. It was very good for the babies because they can drink, the milk, directly from the mother. The mother doesn't have to go externally, okay? So Mother Nature maybe formed the virus to fuse cells. Of course, they also do, they keep dividing and they do keep mutating, and then they do whatever they want, including DNA damages, and then cause cancer, okay? So types of types of viruses. Viruses can be divided into RNA virus, DNA virus, and they also can be divided into, among these, enveloped, non-enveloped, and then single-stranded, double-stranded. If you see, our DNA is double-stranded, okay? So if you see, COVID-19 is enveloped, okay? That's what you see, the envelope. Inside is the RNA, and then all this crone. This crone is called corona, okay? It's a single-stranded RNA virus, 125 nanometer diameter, and then it has got 32,000 base pairs. Base pairs means, the RNA will have this many pairs of nucleic acids, okay? We have millions, billions, okay? So it is one of the largest genome of RNA viruses, okay? Because it has got 32K base pairs, okay? Compare this with one of the most commonly cancer causing virus called human papilloma virus, HPV. Okay, HPV is a double-stranded, it's a DNA virus. Sorry. 8.9 kilobase pairs, okay? Compare this 32,000, here it is 8,900. It's non-enveloped, okay? And so we can see, depending upon their type, whether it is RNA, DNA, enveloped, non-enveloped, single-stranded, double-stranded, they cause various types of diseases. For example, if you take HPV, it is it has got more than 320 types of HPVs, okay? The most commonly is causing cancer is HPV 16 and HPV 18. They cause cervical cancer. They also cause head and neck cancer. Okay, so we'll see all those. And here is a list of major viruses and the human cancers they cause. Okay, so we saw that 15% of human cancers is caused by viruses. Okay, I put HPV in the top, but however, HBV, okay, hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus, they only cause the hepatocellular carcinoma, that is HCC, liver cancer. Okay, so double-stranded DNA, if you see, all of them are double-stranded DNA. You see the base striking difference between COVID and virus causing cancers. And then HPV is 8K, actually 7,800 or 900 base pairs. HPV is small, only 3.2K, 3,200. This is 8,000 HCV. HHV is 165K base pairs, okay, that's big. EBV is 172K base pairs, and human, okay, I will show the expansion in the other one, okay, this is another one. So if you see, HPV causes cervical cancer, major skin, okay, for those non-smoking people having oral cancer, tongue cancer, that is caused because of this HPV. And okay, and then head and neck cancers, anal cancer, oral cancer, pharyngeal cancer, penile cancer. Okay, there are a lot of cancers thanks to HPV. And then hepatocellular carcinoma, liver cancer is HBV, and then HCV also liver cancer. This is Kaposi sarcoma. Okay, sarcoma means caused by tissues. Okay, cancer in the tissues. Melanoma means skin. Carcinoma means epithelial cells like breast, okay, carcinoma, cervical carcinoma, okay, liver carcinoma, okay, and these are others. I think we don't have to go details. We are engineers. Okay, if you see, I want you to look into the perspective. Okay, as of yesterday, because of COVID-19, 5.4 million confirmed cases, 346,000 deaths. Compare this, okay? HBV infection, more than 400 million people in the world have it. HCV infection, more than 170 million. HPV infection, more than 70 million have it, okay? Of course, if you see in 2018, HBV and HCV both together caused 800 liver cancers and caused 800,000 liver cancers and 700,000 deaths. So if you know it's 7/8, you know what is the percentage of death? Okay, 7/8 is how much? You know how much? It is like 90%, correct? More than 90%. Compare this with the cervical cancer, 570,000 new cases, 311,000 deaths, okay? So less than 50%, okay? Here more than 90%, here less than 50%. So we are all living with viruses, okay? So now we have to see how to take care of ourselves, okay? So typically the three most common modalities of therapies for cancer is surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, okay? Surgery is considered the gold standard. If you see, you know, the first record we have is 2,500 BC in Egypt, okay? There was breast cancer and they said there is no medication, okay? The breast was just cut off, you know, those days, not even any anesthesia, you can imagine that. And India, we should have more records, but we don't know about it, so we have to find it, okay? So the 9.6 million deaths in just 2018 tells me what? That there is, the current standard of cure is not enough, it's inadequate, okay? It involves cost, side effects, and poor response rate. And there is no cancer treatment if you have advanced, recurrent, keeps coming again, bleeding, fungating, foul-smelling cancers, So we need an alternate therapy, and we need a physical therapy. We don't need a chemical therapy, because you have to do a lot of mixing and matching to find a chemical that can kill. Instead, if you use like electrical pulses, electromagnetic radiation, okay, physical one, the physical cancer, physical treatments, they don't distinguish between sarcoma, melanoma, like that. Okay, whereas chemical, you have to do that. Okay, so we need an alternate therapy to take care of cancers not treated by, not cured by current existing standard of cure. And if you see, drug delivery is a very complex issue, because either you take orally or IV or topical application. It has to go through various parts of our body, and our stomach has acid, so it can change, it can kill the medicine. And our body, various, if you see our cell membranes, okay, they have what is called by what do you call, by layer, two layers of membranes. They have, one is called the hydrophilic, water loving, other is hydrophobic, okay, water hating. So the water hating and water loving, okay, they will not let any external molecule go inside our skin, because Mother Nature provided that protection. So external molecules cannot go in, internal molecules cannot out. Okay, so we have to push in lot of drug to go inside. Okay, and by diffusion through the lipid, diffusion through the pores. There are some pores, but not enough for the drug to go. Drug molecules are bigger ones. Okay, and if you can see, various parts of our body will absorb the drugs. Okay, so they say only 2 to 10% reaches the intended required spot or location tissue. So imagine you put so much chemotherapy, and again, chemotherapy cannot distinguish between normal cells and cancer cells. So it'll kill all the cells. That is why your immune system is compromised, because in bone marrow, it'll kill all the bone marrow cells, which will produce the white blood cells, correct? They are not going to be producing anymore, correct? It takes, that's why they give every 3 weeks, because they have to let the cells to grow, because one cycle cannot kill all the tumors. So you have to wait, let them grow, then kill, then kill, then kill. Okay, you can never kill up to 0%. Okay, but if you kill 90%, 50% itself is good enough. Okay, and again, if you see the chemical drugs, like these are all used for cancer, okay, especially breast cancer. And of course, pancreatic various cancer, doxorubicin, paclitaxel, tamoxifen. You see the response rate, they vary from 25 to 40%, 17 to 54%, 21 to 41%. All this tells only 40 people will get if you give to 100%, 100 people. So what happened to the rest of them? Okay, so side effects, and then cost, and poor response rate. So we need an alternative therapy, and people have found out by application of electrical pulses. The phenomena is called electroporation. Okay, it will cause pores by electrical pulses and allow the drug to go in, and it will enhance the drug up to 1,000-fold. Okay, from 100 to 1,000-fold improved therapeutic benefits we can get. This electroporation used to upload. Okay, chemotherapy is called electrochemotherapy. We can do electrogene therapy, electrovaccine therapy, electromolecule therapy. We can upload any molecule using electrical pulses. All we have to do is put the appropriate pulse parameters, it is called. Okay. So why electrochemotherapy? We just saw in 2018, 9.6 million died. Current standard of cure is inadequate. It doesn't work for all of them. Drug delivery is a challenge, okay, by oral or IV, anything is a challenge. There are inoperable chemo and radio-resistant tumors need alternative novel therapies. Our body is electric, so using electrical pulses of appropriate magnitude, okay, and duration, pulse width, pulse length, pulse duration, intensity of the pulse, and the number of pulses and frequency, we can elicit, okay, we can have both diagnostic and therapeutic benefits. Okay, so towards this, electrochemotherapy is a boon. We just use 8 pulses, 100 microsecond each pulse, and 1000 volts per centimeter or 1200 volts per centimeter. 8 pulses. We just apply 8 pulses, 100 microsecond, 1200 volts per centimeter. It does wonders. Okay, and it takes very short time. No, it can be done outpatient based. Okay, you don't have to stay in the hospital. You know, by staying in the hospital itself, you'll get infection and pneumonia and this and that. Okay, so we can, it is budget friendly, proven, and very efficacious, effective, efficient. Okay, so we can use electrochemotherapy for treating cancer, because if you see, our membrane receptors acts like a transducers, and then our cell and organelle membranes acts like a capacitor, and then our membranes and DNA acts like a resonators. Okay, and membrane receptors and DNA act like an inductor. So our whole body is electric. Okay, if you want more details, Dr. Albert, St. George, he's a Nobel laureate. His book, Bioelectronics, you can see. Okay, so body is electrical. There are electrical pulses. And, this is what we are going to exploit. The cell membrane will act like a capacitor. So we have to use that. Okay, so, I'm exceeding the time. Sir, is time okay? Hello?
Yeah, madam, you can take some 20 minutes more, ma'am. Not the issue.
Thank you. Okay. So to treat, all we need is 4 pulse parameter, electric field intensity, pulse length, number of pulses, frequency. Typically, they started research with 1 hertz, 1 pulse per second. Now we can go up to 5,000. Okay, 5 kilohertz, because 30 hertz and below, our body can perceive. Okay, the higher the frequency, our body can only feel it only once. Okay, when you apply 8 pulses at 1 hertz, you'll feel that 8 times. Okay, of course, we give anesthesia, local sedation still, so it is better to use high frequency pulses. Okay, and if you see, using electrical or electromagnetic is not new. They were using in 1800 itself. Okay, so the beauty of the electroporation is, it's a local application of electrical pulses to tumor tissue to render. Normally, the cell membranes don't allow external molecules, okay? It is called impermeable. So we make the membranes permeable to otherwise impermeable or poorly permeable hydrophilic, okay, anti-cancer drugs. So what happened, you apply the pulse only where the tumor is. So it is a potent, localized, cytotoxic effective technique. Okay? That is the beauty of this technique, So it is really, really good. And you will see how it is working. And, we are engineers, so we want equations. So electric field E is given as V over D. And if you see, we say, that membrane is a capacitor. If you apply voltage, okay, external voltage, what happens? It's a capacitor, cannot conduct, so build, cumulative charges. When the charges exceed certain level, there will be like 0.5 to 1 volt. If you have 1 volt across, the diameter of a cell is like 10 nanometer, okay, the distance between the 2 layers. So 1 volt across 10 nanometer will give you like what? 10 power 9 volts per meters, correct? So it is lot of electric field, like how, lightning occurs, it will break down the membrane and then cause dielectric breakdown, allow the molecule to go in, okay? So this is how our membranes are there. And then it is a capacitor, you apply pulses, charges will accumulate. When it exceeds, okay, the breakdown strength, there will be electrical discharge. Okay? So that's what is there. And I think I can skip all this. And there are pores formation. The pores are both, hydrophobic pores, small and non-conducting hydrophobic pores. And then also when they exceed a critical size, they will allow the liquid molecule to go inside, okay, hydrophilic pores. So depending upon the voltage, the number of pulses, the energy received, we can create either in small non-conducting pores only, or we can kill the whole cell, okay? So there are 2 types of electrical electrical therapies. One is called the electro chemotherapy, where we use a drug along with electrical pulses. Another one is called the irreversible electroporation, IRE. Okay, in that what we do, we just kill. It's called lysis. We just burn the tissue, okay, because of the electrical pulse heating. In the case of electrochemotherapy, we use 1200 volts per centimeter, 8 pulses, 100 microsecond, 1 hertz or 5 kilohertz. Whereas in the case of IRE, irreversible, which they use for liver cancer, advanced liver cancer, you cannot do any operation because nearby so many important organs are there, okay? So at that time they use this, they use like 80 to 220 pulses, 100 microsecond, okay? They apply 10 pulses at a time. You don't apply 100 pulses at the same time. And similarly, they use like 10 hertz or more, okay? So I have all the equation, hydrophobic force, okay, how they form, what is the energy involved, and then hydrophilic force, energy involved, all the equation. I think we can see this all later, okay. So this is the concept. When you normally, give chemotherapy, injection or oral, it cannot go into the cell because the cell membrane, it will prevent it. It's non-permeable, okay. And then you apply the electrical pulse. When you apply the electric pulse, because of dielectric breakdown, okay, it will slightly open, okay. We apply only enough to open, and then the some of the or most of the molecules will go in. And then these pulses are only 100 microsecond long, okay. So what happens? Eventually, they close. It's called resealing, okay. This is called reversible electroporation because the cell membrane comes back to original position. Initially, it is not open. By applying pulse, we typically use a square pulse, and then it opens up, allow the drug molecules to come in, and then it reseals, okay, reversible. Whereas in the case of IRE, we apply just lots of electrical pulses, it will burn the tissue. That's it, okay. This is the concept, and these are various cartoons illustrating, okay. So normally the cell will have good integrity, okay. It is not broken. When you apply the pulse, the integrity is lost, but however, it allows molecules to go in and they do the magic. And depending upon the intensity, 2 kV per centimeter, 4 kV per centimeter, 5 kV per centimeter, okay, you can see how we can control. This is the beauty of this technique. We can fine tune, we can obtain the desired cell kill, okay, by using, varying the pulse width, varying the intensity of the pulse, varying the number of pulses, varying the frequency. We can play wonders. We can kill however many cells we want. You want to burn, you can burn. You want to kill only 50%, we can do, okay? So it allows nice tailoring of the pulses. And as I said before, okay, typically they use only these two drugs, bleomycin, cisplatin. However, if you wonder what's my job, I am testing a lot of, drugs, including turmeric, curcumin, and then neem, okay, mint, all those, how we can use it, what is the dosage we can use using electrical pulses, okay? So they typically use only bleomycin in 99% of the cases. It is a very common drug, very cheap also, like 500 rupees in India. And then it's very efficient, very few side effects. And then another one is cisplatin. This is the first platinum-based chemo drug, okay? The bleomycin up to 1,000-fold enhancement, okay? So you can see that if you can get 1,000 times the effect, then we can give 1,000th of the dose, correct? So less side effect, less costly. In addition, even if 1,000, even if you give 10 times, okay, we reduce the side effect. If you see, rather than the cancer, the side effects and the other associated problems, vomiting, nausea, loss of appetite, that is the time you're hungry, you need to eat nutritious food, but your tongue will become, your mouth will become so bitter, you cannot even eat anything, okay? So it's really cancer, cancer side effects are worst, okay? So by using this one directly into the tumor, if you see, we go into the tumor. Okay, wherever the tumor, it's called intra tumor. We apply the pulse. We inject the drug into the tumor. Of course, we give light sedation for the whole body and then local anesthesia. So you don't feel it. You inject the drug, chemotherapy drug into the tumor and you apply the pulse. Typically, we use 4 millimeter gap. Okay, so if you want to use 1200 volts per centimeter electric field, 400 means, okay, if you use 4 millimeter, we use 480. 480 volts across 4 millimeter, okay, so 0.4 centimeter, you get 1200 volts per centimeter, okay, that is what happens. So it's called intra-tumor, we go into the tumor. Of course, we can give IV and then pulse also, okay, but you know, when you give to IV, it'll go to the whole body, only 2 to 10% will come here, whereas if you give the drug in the tumor itself, all the drug stays there and you apply the pulse, it goes in, it kills the cell, kills the cancer cells and of course nearby normal cells. And no electric field, it is 1 hour R squared, correct? So the proximity effect is virtually nothing. Okay, so it kills the cell death and then it cures. Okay, I have seen patients, I have seen hundreds of patients treatment. Within 10 minutes, they can walk to from the bed to their, from the hospital bed to their own bed. And within 1 day, you can see the bleeding stopping and the tumors start reducing. Okay, so it's really a very potent technique. And I wish all the doctors use this. Okay, so using bleomycin, we can get up to 1000 folds, split in up to 80 fold. And okay. And if you see, remember, I showed the response rate, hardly 45-50%, whereas in the case of bleomycin, they could get up to 56% response rate, and cisplatin 77%. Okay, so almost twice the rate of the response compared to cisplatin alone, only 19%. Okay, so it is really, really good. And this is the beauty. It is applicable to all histologies, okay? Because if it's melanoma, sarcoma, lymphoma, carcinoma, anything, we can use electrical pulses. Electrical pulse doesn't distinguish. It only does the capacitive action, okay? And we can treat various parts of it. Again, I can skip this, okay? And this electrical therapy depends upon the type of the cells and, the source of the cell and the species of the cell, and then the, cell type, like melanoma means the skin cells, and then epithelial means the outside cells, like, cervical cancer epithelial, breast cancer epithelial, whether it is from rat species or mammalian humans, rodents, and then whether it's from blood or from breast or from colon, okay? So it depends upon all that. And then for when everything else is the same, it's inversely proportional to the diameter. Higher the diameter, lower the electric field intensity we need, okay? So we can see here 13.32, 12.1, 2.7, 9.5, 2.7. Of course, it gets saturated also. Remember, biology is heterogeneous. We have various parameters, okay? But so this just gives you one part of the puzzle. And then if you see, these were done a long time ago in 2000 in Tampa, Florida, okay? And then Chicago, they did it, okay? They used, this is the electrogeometry, parallel plate and the needle arrays, okay? Seven needle arrays, here parallel plate, just 2 plates, okay? And then they used to treat melanoma, basal cell carcinoma, okay? Kaposi sarcoma, okay? Head and neck squamous cell carcinoma, adenocarcinoma, and then advanced cystic carcinoma, okay? If you see the response rate overall, okay? This is actually, you should know, NE means no effect, PR means partial effect, CR means complete response, okay? Partial response, complete response, no response, overall response. You see here, it's 100%, 98.7%, 100%, 100%, 100%, except one case, 70%. Compared to the response rate of the drugs, okay, hardly 50%, we can get, up to 100%, okay, 75 to 100%, okay. So this one is advantages, okay? Excellent local tumor control, up to 90% and above, pain relief, pain reduction, pain control, pain management, okay? How much morphine you can give? If you have, recurrent advanced tumors, there's only so much morphine you can give. Then people will become saturated with that. They'll be in pain and suffering. In this case, at least, if you're going to die, you can die without pain. You can go to your cruise and then die, okay? That's what they say. Minimal risk risk of damage to healthy surrounding tissue, correct? E is proportional to 1 over R squared. So nearby tissues will be very less affected. The tip of the needle only will have the maximum intensity, electric field intensity, okay? So lower chemotherapy doses needed, minimizing the toxicity profile of the drug. And also called protein denaturation. If you see cervical cancer, uterus cancer and all, they do what is called the, they use a heat or a frequency to burn the tissue, okay, the uterus and all. Whereas when you do that, the heat will spread everywhere, correct? It will affect the protein. It will denature the protein. Whereas electric field, only concentrate where the tumor, where the tip of the needle is there. So no protein denaturation. It is considered a very good benefit, okay? And then high safety profile without severe side effects. Good cost benefit ratio. This is what it is. You can do it in outpatient base. No bed is needed. No staying is needed. You need only 1 or 2 hours staying there, okay? I have seen many, outpatients in Italy, in Ireland, in India. And then treatments are well tolerated by patients, okay? Some people have come 5 times. Typically we do 1, 2, sometimes 3 sittings, okay? But, some cases you have to come 5 times, 6 times. They have come in Italy, okay? This is what? Improvement in the quality of life, okay? Because, I'll show you some cancers. Okay, this one we saw. Okay, we typically use square pulses because originally they used exponential. What happened? Exponential pulse, those of you in electrical, okay, if you want to increase the intensity, the tail also will increase. Okay, we have what is called inverse square law. Okay, if the intensity is high, you need a short pulse. If the intensity is low, you need long pulses. Okay, so whereas in this case, if you increase the intensity, automatically the tail will increase. Okay, thanks to power electronics, we have, MOSFETs and other devices. So we can adjust the intensity alone. We can adjust the pulse length alone. Okay, and the number of pulses. Okay, so we can do that. This was, okay, we use typically what is called BTX ECM 830 for research purpose, which I have. IGA is the Italian company. They make this one. It costs like 100,000 euros. Cenex is like, 30,000, 40,000 euros. Japanese and French, they all have their own. Okay, there is no standardization yet. And then also in addition to microsecond pulse, they also use nanosecond pulsars. Okay. But these are all only in research level. I am interested in the clinical study. Okay, this is the BTX which we use in the lab. So as I said, in the lab, I study various pulse duration, various intensities, because I find 1200 volts across 1 centimeter is too much. So what happens if I put 600 volts per centimeter? Of course, when I put 200 volts, I have to increase the duration. I can use 600 volts in 1 millisecond, okay? Or I can use 500 volts, 10 millisecond, like that. Okay, so we were studying that only with various drugs, various pulse parameters. This is the IGA Electroporator made by, that Italian company. It is one of the first ones. And they also make these electrodes. Typically, this was, this is the parallel 8 needle array electrode, 2 parallel, 4 each. One is positive, one is negative. The gap is 4 millimeter. This was designed by Dr. Julie Gell. She's a surgical oncologist. She came up with this design, okay? And then we typically, if the tumor is, bulky, it has to penetrate. So we use a needle electrode. If the tumor is flat, we can use the plain electrode, okay? And then originally they were using hexagonal, okay? The gap between the 2 needles here is 7 millimeter, 0.7 centimeter. Here it is 4 millimeter, okay? So if you want, remember, if your tumor is big, you have to apply this 4 millimeter, you have to keep applying, with overlapping so that the entire tumor is surrounded by it, okay? By entire tumor is pulse. So 4 millimeter, 4 millimeter. So what happens? You have to, you have the pedal, okay? You have to press it, pulse on, and then power on, pulse on, power on, pulse on. So if you have a big, like a thigh and all to electroporate, you need to do so many times, meaning you have to give more, anesthesia, more longer times, okay? So some doctors prefer this, where it is 7 millimeters, so, almost twice this, so you can have less number of applications. And then initially they created these 3, and then now, to go into the tongue, okay, and other inside the mouth and all, they needed some other electrodes, so these were made, okay? So here I want to tell you that, For tongue cancer, normally they remove the tongue. Imagine, after you remove the tongue, how can you speak? What is the quality of life? Whereas using, okay, we treated one in the Kaveri in Chennai, a Kaveri hospital. Okay, this guy is from Delhi, I think, Delhi or Calcutta. Okay, he went all over and no one can cure it because it was recurrent. Okay, initially they gave the chemo, radiation, but it keeps coming and everybody gave up. This Dr. Rajini Gupta, she treated using electro chemotherapy. Guess what? Within 2 weeks, okay, he could, started talking, and 90% of the tongue we saved. Only 10% they cut the flesh from, flap reconstruction. You cut the tissue from somewhere else and connect it. Okay, so imagine that we can save organs. Okay, so that is how it is. Otherwise, I have seen a patient in Trichy only, Dr. Srinivasan. He conducted a meeting, 2014. There was a tongue cancer patient who lost his tongue and he was using an external device to speak. Whereas we can save organs like this, many organs we can save. Okay. So this is the Cenex, made in Germany, but sold by Sweden, I think. We use this fellow only in Chennai many times. Okay, they use more than 200 cases treated in Chennai. It will show the pulse width, pulse shape, and then, what is the current. Okay, you need some decent current, then only, it penetrated. If there is no current, means the cells didn't receive it. Okay. And then we can program name of the patient, age, and first time, second time, whatever, what is the drug dosage, all those we can program. Okay, Cenex use this kind of needle. Remember, everybody wants to show off their own individuality. So they use 4 needles like this. Okay, the gap is almost 1 centimeter. Okay, they use 1000 volts across 1 centimeter. So you get that. This is how you do. Okay, where there is tumor, you go there. So it is directly into the intra tumor. So very effective. And then this is the pulse shape, from IGA. Okay, this was we recorded in Italy. Okay, so this is the voltage waveform, and then 1200 volts, and then this is the current. You see, a current can go up to 2, 3. Okay, above. Typically they want above 1 ampere, 800 milliamperes, very normal. Okay, above 1 ampere, 2, 3. But I have seen patients like with 12 amperes, okay, with so much bleeding and fuss. So it's highly conductive. You can get current up to 12 amperes. That's the highest I have seen. Okay, so here they're applying 400 volts across 4 millimeter gap. Okay, so you get 1000 volts. They used to use 1300 volts per centimeter, 1200 volts per centimeter. Now they are going for 1000 volts per centimeter. Okay, 8 pulses, 100 microsecond each pulse width, and they use 5000 hertz. Okay, so here also, total application, number of application 3 if it's small area, number of application 8, if it's a bigger area. Okay, so per sitting. Okay, oh sorry, I'm pressing up. Here is one case done in India, Chennai. This lady is from Bombay. She had a recurrent cancer. Okay, originally she had in 2011. She had breast cancer. Typically the treatment is you do surgery, radiation, chemo. Then it came in 2012 or so. It came. So she didn't want chemotherapy because she suffered so much. She was willing to die. She doesn't want chemotherapy. Already they removed surgery. How can they do surgery? Surgery not possible. Chemo is refused. Radiation. Once you radiate, you cannot re-radiate that base. Okay, because remember the nerves will become insensitive. So you cannot do radiation also. So she came, luckily Dr. Kalavati in Pennalam, she was willing to treat her, and she had such a big mass, pasted to the tumor. Okay, so we gave first time. I saw this lady, of course, after the treatment. As she gave IV and the electro chemotherapy, and it didn't reduce much, but it was coming bleeding. Imagine bleeding. Okay? All her blouse will be all wet and that. Okay, the bleeding stopped in 2 days, and then it became solidified. Okay, and then after 3 weeks, 2 weeks, we gave second time. the tumor only reduced to 30%. Then we gave both IV and intra-tumor. Okay, you give IV injection and the intratumoral injection, they treated. Within 3 weeks, it came down to 40%. Okay, then she went to Bombay. She met her doctor. And he said, oh, now I can operate. Before he said he cannot touch it. The tumor was so big. Okay, so like that, and advanced bleeding, fungating, okay, tumors we can treat with this, and we can see the result within few hours. Okay, this is a Chennai Cancer Care Hospital one treatment. Okay, again, if you see the patient details, okay, cancer, okay, buccal mucosa, squamous cell carcinoma. He underwent chemotherapy 6 cycles, radiation 6 cycles, still it's keep coming. How many times you can do surgery, correct? You'll become a hole, you'll get a hole there, okay? So after a few surgeries, they will leave it, okay? So he came with 4 superficial lesions with advanced stage, okay? He was having pain, difficulty in swallowing, difficulty to talk. Imagine the quality of life. This is what we are adhering. Okay, we want to enhance the quality of life. At least they can eat something, they can talk something, reduce the pain. Okay, so given 2 cycles of ECT in the interval of 2 weeks. Okay, so the swelling almost reduced. He only has 2 lesions. The problem with these patients is they don't come back again. Okay, if they come again, we can treat. But once they know they become okay, little okay, and they can eat, they can talk, they can go to work, they don't show up. Okay, this is another patient. Okay, Mr. Barra, 38 years old. Again, cancer tongue with mandible erosion, and then it's infiltrating squamous cell. Squamous cells are those cells below our top layer. Okay, I won't go detail into biology. Underwent radiation therapy with chemotherapy 4 cycles in Andaman. Okay, didn't work, and then he came to Rajiv. These are all done in Rajiv Gandhi. And then came up with the left facial swelling with advanced stage, pain, difficulty in swallowing, difficulty to talk. Okay, most of the head and neck cancer patients will have this one only. Okay, given 2 cycles of ECT in 2 weeks, tumor volume almost reduced. They treated over 100 patients in the Rajiv Gandhi Center. Okay, head and neck. Okay, and then you see, otherwise, imagine how much surgery, how much radiation you can give, it is really very effective. All you do is do that. This is using chemo drug, okay? Cisplatin was used. We also use, like prostate, pancreatic, liver, colon cancer, advanced stage. You cannot do anything. All you do is just remove that part, okay? Surgery is not possible. This will be most of the time old patients. So we can use what is called irreversible electroporation, okay? No chemo drug, just apply the pulses like 10 pulses at a time, like 80 to 220 pulses, 1500 volts per centimeter, same 100 microsecond. Actually, they use 99 microsecond. Okay, and then 10 hertz or above they use. Okay, it's called, they use a device what is called a nano knife. There is no nano, no knife. Still, they call it nano knife. Okay, and if you see, irreversible electroporation liver cancer was done in the USA. Okay, they treated several patients, and then also in China, and then they even wrote a note about it. Okay, and if you see, liver cancers caused by viruses, hepatitis C, and hepatitis B viruses cause it. They mostly work on the chromosome and make DNA, cause DNA damage. It takes, of course, over a decade to get it, using irreversible electroporation. Okay, no drug, 80 to 220 pulses, 1500 volts per centimeter, 100 microsecond, and then they do it. Okay, so we can treat many of these pulses. And of course, cervical cancer. Cervical cancer, from age 9 to 26, you can be given the vaccine to prevent it. Okay, before anything you get, you have to give the vaccine. Okay, no electrochemotherapy is done to any women except 2 or 3 in Italy, but we are studying, the first one is the cervical cancer cells, human cervical cancer cells. We show that, see, control means no treatment. Using 200 volts per centimeter, 40 millisecond, we can kill up to 70%, and then 450 volts per centimeter, 25 millisecond. Again, we can kill up to 70%. And then 1200 volts per centimeter, 100 microsecond, we can cool up to, viability is 75%. So we can cool 25% here or about 30%. Of course, we can increase the number of pulses or increase this one. So there is a possibility we can use this technique in the clinics also. Okay, so this is the book. Those of you who are interested, you can, read. This is my 12 years of experience, and the rest of them are my work. And we also treated in Chennai, okay, along with Crescent stem cells. Stem cells are very supposed to be, strong, rugged. It's very difficult to break them. We showed that we can break them also. And then these are all using, cell breast cancer cells. If you are someone who doesn't want to work with cells, but you want to work on cancer, we can do this. We have what is called, we can build the pulsars. Okay, that's one thing. And then this is one pulsar we built at Purdue. Okay, this is 1000 volts and 35 nanoseconds. Okay, actually we made it to 20 nanoseconds. My student took it as a challenge. Remember, higher voltage, lower pulse width, very difficult, very challenging. Overshoot, undershoot, you have a lot of issues. They did a very good job. Okay, and you can build a pulsar, or you can do modeling studies, because we cannot keep on treating patients every time to get understanding. We can model the cell membrane as a capacitor, and in parallel with a high resistor. Cell cytoplasm inside the cell is conductive, so it can be a resistor. Okay, like that we can plan, and then we can study how the cells behave, so we can model each part of the cells. Okay. This is to wake up those who are sleeping. Okay. And then we can also do what is called electric field distribution study. Okay, we can model the organ itself. We can use various electrodes. You can use a plain electrode, needle electrode, and all that, and then we can do. Okay, we studied all this, and this is how me and my students do. And then these are various papers. Okay, now Johns Hopkins is doing pancreatic cancer, liver cancer using the IRA. Okay, I think with this I will conclude. So to conclude, I hope I have a few minutes. Cancer is not a single disease, but a bunch of diseases, and there are millions of people dying. We need an alternative therapy. 15% of these cancers are caused by viruses. So, okay, primarily HBV, HCV, and HPV. So the current standard of treatment is not adequate. So we use electrical pulses. Electrical pulses can open up the pores, enhance the drug delivery. And then we have two methods, electro chemotherapy using a drug and 8 pulses. And then just, 100 pulses only, irreversible electroporation. They enhance the life of the patient. They are very cost effective, very efficient. So using electrical pulses with and without the chemo drug, we can treat virus-based and other cancers effectively, efficiently, and economically. With this, I conclude. Thank you for the opportunity. Remember, it takes a whole village to raise a kid. The whole world helped me to learn and do this kind of research. I thank all of you. Thank you very much, and have a nice time.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Dr. Raji Sundararajan. If a participant have any questions, can ask our speaker.
Madam, I am Dharmalingam. I have one question.
Yeah.
The cancer is inside the organs like liver.
Correct.
Where the electrodes should be placed?
See, normally you have to do a little invasive. You have to open up and then put the electrode directly onto the liver. That's one way. Another way, they are using this, endoscopy therapy, catheter. So they can use the end of the one, okay, in Ireland. The end, instead of the camera, they put the electrodes and they go and pulse. Yes, yeah, the inside organs, it is little, it has to be a little bit invasive. But external like breast and, skin cancer, it's ideal. Yes, yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, they're doing it. Yes, you have to open up, yeah.
So this method is being practiced in Rajiv Gandhi Hospital at Chennai?
It was in 2014, and then guess what happened? They didn't, pay for it. We did like 200 cases. No, not even one case was paid. Even I myself went and met the, the director of health director and all. He approved, but the officer said, "Oh, if he approves, do you think we'll do?" It looks like they're expecting money. I couldn't do. I came back here. So that fellow left, the company. So there is very good, reason to do it. When they gave free, people did it. Now we had to buy it and do it because you saw it, how people can be benefited, but not many people are doing it. So I hope some doctors take the initiative.
Is there any hospital in South India, say Tamil Nadu area, where they are providing this type of treatment?
No hospital. If you want, I know someone who has that pulse generator. He will come and do it for you. So yeah, it is not it. Remember, even in the Europe, where 120 hospital, it is only for palliative. When nothing works, they do it. So we are working towards making it in the first line therapy. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam?
Yeah.
Madam, I am Karpasamy.
Yes, sir.
I am happy to note that you are the student of GEC Chalam, no?
Yeah.
You are delivering the lecture from America or India now?
You guess.
America.
Correct. There is no planes flying. How can I come there?
My question is whether India is having all the expertise and equipments and drugs for treating the patients on par with Western countries.
Correct.
Now India is having all the.
India has it, but application is the problem. Lot of bureaucracy and lot of, what do I say? India has the capability, but doesn't do it.